Yeah. Welcome to the Overture Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show. Welcome to... Was it the first episode of March? No, it's not. No, it's not. The last one was the first one because it was the weekend. Well, and either way, as promised, I'm back. As per usual schedule, I'm back. And let's just do like a little vibe check. How are you guys doing? Like, what's up? What's if you wonder if you've been wondering what's going on in my life personally, recently I've been super fucking obsessed with Dune, even more so than like I expected. Like that movie changed my fucking life and changed my For You page. I think everyone is like getting, well, I hope at least a huge chunk of the TikTok users are getting harassed by TikTok, Dune content basically. But it's just funny, like between basically Zendaya and Timothy doing like we were like replying to comments in on the official Dune TikTok profile, or Austin Butler getting basically laughed at because of the way he talks, the Elvis voice and all that shit. I'm just honestly, it's just a lot of fun. And plus, there's so many like the Lisa Al Gaib meme that like whatever you do, like you're considered a prophet and all that stuff. It's just so funny. Fun times to be in. You know what I mean? But that's my like recent pop culture vibe in that sense. I've been getting a lot of that. It's just nonstop. It's just bombarding my fucking social media timeline. Like they wanna make me buy tickets again so bad, and they wanna make me buy a lot of merch that I don't need. I don't need it. I don't need it. I started reading the book again, from scratch once more. So from the first book, but yeah, like that's capitalism. Damn capitalism. Damn. Um, but it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun to be in. It's a great moment. It's also nice to see that finally the weather is slowly. I don't want to jinx it, but it seems to be slowly changing for the better. For the better, I hope. So yeah, I'm feeling good about it. Just spring and summer are my favorite seasons because there's a lot of sun. There's a lot of time to do things. There's like our days are longer in that sense. I'm just very glad about that, and hopefully better weather. Anyways, this week, as promised, like from last week, I'm gonna give you guys a certain review of a new album that came out on Friday, basically, which is Eternal Sunshine by. Well, how would you say it? Like, well, I guess it's like a comeback. Well, it is a new start as well for Ariana Grande, to be fair, because it's the first album I think she releases with a new label and team. So it is a bit of a new step for her. So yeah, it's a first for her, but it's her seventh studio album. So yeah, like pretty major, pretty major. But I'll get into the review as well, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So before I get into that, of course, songs of the fucking week. I'm gonna try and keep it a bit more contained in this sense because I have a lot to talk about in terms of music. So I'll do a quick one. But yeah, before I get actually into anything, I was looking at my notes. Happy Women's Day and Happy Mother's Day as well. I think is it Saturday? Like, was it on Saturday? Probably. But either way, it's the month for women. For women, women are on top. Are on top. Yeah, as I said on my Instagram, y'all are slaying, and all the men that wronged you in your lives, they should jump off a cliff. Easy, easy. Just get them out of here, you know? And as I said, follow me on Instagram, please. robscal.jpg. Anyways, let's get into the songs. First one is Boy Thoughts by Dane, so Daine. It's a club anthem. It's very, very clubby. It's very sort of, well, it's not Europop, but it's like a club song, and it's just funny because it's objectifying man, which is honestly all that you could ask for. Flip that coin, girl. You know, make them boys cry. Use the same, you know, fight fire with fire. You know, treat a boy like a slut. That's the one of the lyrics from the song, but it's just a great beat overall. That's the my first, you know, the first thing I noticed, I guess, with the song is that it was a great, of course, a great production and all this stuff, but also lyrics are honestly very good. Um, Also, if you're wondering what I'm drinking tea with a splash of oat milk because yeah, I ran out of milk and I had to buy it and I went to spice it up. I am not vegan, but or vegetarian, but I just I'm just a whore for food. I just eat anything. I just like to try things and just have a little bit of a variety, I guess, in my diet. Let's just put it like that. But anyways, both Boy Thoughts by Dane. Go listen to it. It's very fun track. It's also in my playlist, like slightly on the main because it's like she's like treat a boy like a slut, fuck me like a star or something like that. I don't know. Very clubby and ravey, and it's just fun. A lot of fun. Um, so yeah, that's one. Second one is completely different vibe. It's called Angel by New Dad, for real, like New Dad, like your dad. But all yeah, so it's like I assume it's a band, New Dad, very indie. I mean, the most streamed song they have is this one, and it's like 1 million streams on Spotify. So they're like not super known, I guess, but I'd never heard of this artist. To be fair, this was the first song I like listened to uh, by them. So it's a very indie rock song. Cover art is creepy as fuck. It's like a statue of a Japanese. Well, I don't know if it's a statue or if it's an actual Japanese lady or not, but and it's a broken statue. Like it looks like a broken statue. Like especially the mouth part is just falling off and all that shit. It's just very cool. I listened to the song for the first time on Thursday, and when I was going out, I was basically going out like I was going out. Let's just say that I was going out on a Thursday. I'm not gonna reveal with whom, but I was going out, and it was after work. It was like pretty late. It was like 9 p.m. or something. No, maybe it was 8:30. I can't remember. But I was like walking alone in the streets. And it was like dark, and I was listening to this one came across, and I was like, oh. And then it was feeling creeped out because it's a creepy song. It's kind of like a creepy song. It has a creepy vibe, but it's a very cool vibe, to be fair. It's a good old song about being heartless and wanting to bring your lover down to the bottom with you. You know, like we like that toxicity sometimes. It's just funny. Very creepy, of course. Bridge plus the last chorus together, they're just amazing. They devour. That's the thing. It's a very epic ending to the song as well. Just give it a shot. It's not super like like hardcore rock, but it's just like indie rock. Like it's very tasteful. Let's just say that. But yeah, and, as I said, of course, I have a couple of songs from the new Ariana Grande album, but I'll get into that. Well, now that I'm gonna get into the actual story, but yeah. So I will talk about them in my review, but some of them, maybe a couple, I'll probably do two songs. Maybe I'll include them in my playlist of the month, basically the Overture Pamphlet songs of the week of March. So watch out for that. But yeah, without any further ado, let's just get into the actual review. Let's just get into the real thing. Yeah. As I said, we're back, and we're gonna get it straight into the review of Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande, seventh studio album, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of work to begin with. So and a great event to celebrate, in my opinion, because it's been 4 years. So yeah, after 4 years since like her last album, Ariana Grande is finally here. new management, as I said, new label, and just overall a more artistically motivated Ari, in my opinion. Like it seems like she's just getting into a more intentional and like a raw image. So yeah, this album is also mainly produced by Max Martin, but also some old collaborators from previous albums. But of course, Max Martin, he has to be cited because he's the pop god. So yeah, expectations were already quite high. So yeah, there was a lot writing on this album. I think just because like merely for the fact that it's like been 4 years since the last one. I think people were eager to see what she was going to do with it, you know, especially changing management and all that stuff. Like people were also a bit nervous to see like what she was going to do with it. And I have to say, it's a very surprising take on her artistic production. I guess I'm really surprised with what she did with this. Um, so yeah, before I actually get into the tracks, I think we need to like talk a bit about. Maybe I can give you like my overall thoughts first. I think probably this feels the more, as I said, like the most artistic and motivated album she's done, but it also seems very cohesive in terms of sounds and themes, and does not feel as commercial as her most of her previous albums, I guess. Um, so yeah, I think it's quite different. It's quite I felt the difference, not in terms of like necessarily the the elements that she used in terms of music, because it does seem very Ariana in that sense, but like in terms of sounds and all that stuff, but just the intention behind it and just the overall like message and the delivery as well. I don't know, something. And also maybe because also it's the fact that there's no proper like pop commercial song in this album. Like maybe Yes and, but even Yes and seems more like an homage, I guess, like than more than anything else. Like also that one was very like I think artistically motivated as well. So not to say like whatever she did before was not artistically motivated, but it definitely, in my opinion, seemed way more commercial, which I honestly cannot complain about because I love a lot of Ariana Grande songs. So but this one feels more authentic, as I said, more raw. In I don't know, it's just a vibe that I get from the actual album. When I listened to it for the first time on Friday, I was immediately gassed. I was gassed. Um, so yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised overall. Um, so yeah, some of the songs on here are probably my faves ever from like by Ariana Grande. So it's just some of them are very very good, I would say. Yeah, just gorgeous production. Nothing that you like, you know, nothing unexpected from, I guess, from Max Martin, because he knows, of course, his job. So I wouldn't have placed my bets on anyone else, of course. But yeah, in preparation for this, I listened to a couple of long form interviews that she did for the album. I think it was the Zach Sang one and the Apple Music one, and then I also listened to. So she did for Amazon Music. She did some like still with Zach Sang. She did some like for each track she gave a bit of a shorter interview for each track. So that I also listened to that one. So because I just wanted to like get into the mood before actually getting into the song, the songs and the album in general. But yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to like have a little bit of deeper understanding of what she was going into with this, and like what was her vision with it and the creative process overall, because that's also something that really intrigues me when it comes to music. Like how do you get to like conceptualize an album, and like what choices do you take in terms of like message that you want to, you know, pursue, and like all that basically, all that has to do with the behind the scenes. I guess it's very interesting. So yeah, I'm glad she went through these types of interviews, not the usual commercial ones where you just go to like promote your album to Jimmy Fallon or whatever. Maybe she'll do that, I don't know, I'm not sure, but these are more like in depth and more about the music itself. So I'm very grateful for all of these sort of like interviews. But yeah, so Um, so what I actually got from the general idea I got from these interviews, I guess I could say that it's probably the first time she has dedicated herself to making songs, not to make a hits packed album, but just a new approach to music overall. And you can really feel it here. As I said, the songs are more effortless, in my opinion. They feel more like genuine, less gimmicky. They use definitely like way less wow factors than her previous albums. There's less talk about sex and about being like or generic pop songs, but generic like love songs or just braggadocious character driven songs. It seems more like, which is funny because the album is based on a movie and all that stuff, but it's more about her. Like the she took a theme from a movie. I'll get into that in a bit, but it's about her basically. It's just about her relationship with love mostly, basically. Yeah. So yeah. It seems more of an album that she truly had fun making in that sense. Very genuine. You can definitely tell by listening to the songs that it's a very organic process that went into this. And this is not to say that she did not bring back some of the core elements that define like her music. The Ariana Grande flavor, as I said, is like very much all over this. We have one typical trap song that's usually like put in, I don't know, like Thank You Next or Positions. We have stacked harmonies on all the tracks, gorgeous vocals, of course, and vocal runs, and just her raw skills in terms of production. Because she also loves to produce, so she has a hand on like the production element here as well. Um, so yeah, everything came through. Yeah, but I don't know. I just think overall it feels way less manufactured and more confessional. So I really love it. I can only see a more emotive and truthful side of hers, which honestly it's quite refreshing because most of the times, like whenever you listen to her music, it's mostly like her just replying to the rumors about her or just like getting into this character of being like a man eater, I guess I would say, or whatever it is, or just like typical pop songs like I'm gonna make you fall for me and all that shit. Like there was never like a maybe yours truly was a bit of a more confessional album, I guess, but it also was very young. Like it was on like a very young age, so didn't feel mature enough. This is like the maturity level that I expect from her in that sense, but also very confessional. So it's all I could ask for. Very happy about that. Yeah, so in her interview, she also did talk a lot about how taking a break from music to film Wicked, because she did film Wicked in the meantime, was the most healing and reconnecting experience for her. She learned a lot from the character Glinda that she's playing in the movie. She played in Glinda is the good witch, basically in the Wizard of Oz universe, I guess, and the lore. If you don't know the lore about the Wizard of Oz, then we cannot talk. I'm so sorry, but yeah, she learned a lot from the character Glinda. As I said, the album came together by itself. It seemed like through Glinda, she basically had a new perspective about creative and being like creative person in that sense, and just like the way she approached the album, it was like a very natural process. Like she never felt like she was actually supposed to make the album, but it just came out of nowhere. She just went and played with it in New York one time, and from then everything kept rolling. And she also said that basically she was never forcing her hand when making any tracks. Whenever it felt forced, she just stepped away from the songs for a while and then came back to it and see like to see just how she could like fill with them even more and redraft them. So yeah. Now, the bigger point here to note is that she named the album, of course, after Eternal Sunshine, a Jim Carrey movie. This movie is a 2004 sci-fi romantic drama, and the protagonist, I'm going to give you like a little bit of a very short like synopsis, but the protagonist in this movie and his ex both get their memories erased about each other, specifically, not about their whole lives, just about their relationship that went to shit, basically. So yeah, they just got they get their like memories erased, and in the process, Joel, which is the main character, which is played by, of course, Jim Carrey, relives all of his memories while he's getting this like surgery, right? And realize actually that he doesn't want to forget his ex, but it's too late for that. Like he's already in the process, so the procedure goes ahead, and he forgets basically in the end everything. And she's already gone through it, so that's fine, whatever. Like they both completely got over it in that sense. But here's where it gets interesting. They both get to meet again after the surgeries as complete strangers, of course, now because they don't know each other anymore, and by accident they rekindle their forgotten relationship. You know what I mean? They of course they don't remember until they later find their logs, their the logs of their memories, and they decided to like just listen to them again. They almost decided to break up again because of the bitter past that they left behind, but then they ultimately decided to give it another shot and like to basically pursue this once again. So it's a very cute and sweet story. I just love it so much. And the theme in general, I guess you could say, is not specifically, and the way it applies, I guess, to the album, is not specifically about falling in love with the same person again, but it's just in general the topic of like rediscovering love after going through very intense emotions and a very intense breakup and a very hurtful situation. So having this like all these emotions of like wanting to like erase your memories and like forget about your past and just never, experience love again. But then out of nowhere, you just find love again, and you just decided to give it another shot. And then, like it's just like it's a relationship with love, basically. Like, and that's basically the topic of the album as well. Like, it's about Ariana. You know, it fits very much with her private life in that sense because she broke off. She divorced Dalton Gomez, which was her previous partner, and she never really went public with it because, well, about how it went down because, well, we didn't have an album and she didn't really do interviews about it because, well, that's not a usual thing that she does. But it seems from this album that it was a very traumatic experience for her, and it was also part of the reason why she didn't want to make an album or like make music anymore for a bit. And then, well, she fell in love with what's his name, Slater, whatever his name is. Anyways, that's another topic. We're not gonna get into that specifically about the homewrecker situation because that hasn't that doesn't have to do anything with it. But yeah, so she found love again, and the whole process of this is basically the topic of the album, and she used the Eternal Sunshine movie as a reference for exactly what she went through, which is very fitting. So very smart idea. So I like this gave me a lot of hopes in the sense of what was going to be in the album because it feels like there was a vision, there was a concrete and artistically motivated vision in that sense. So very, very happy to, that she chose this path, I guess, for the album. So yeah. So now I'm gonna get into the tracks. I'm gonna go through all of them basically. I'll try not to be too like lengthy with that, but yeah. So first track is of course Intro. It's called Intro, End of the World. Beautiful song, as a bit of like well, it's made very well as an intro. It's very short in that sense, but it's just gorgeous. Like fully stacked with harmonies. It's just like beautiful vocals by Ariana. The production is very like dreamy and like very much like setting up the mood for the album is just very beautiful. And the few lyrics that are in there, like the song, as I said, is short, like I think it's just above 1 minute or something, or even not even that, but it's about questioning your love for someone. If it all ended tomorrow, would I be like, if the world came to an end tomorrow, would I be on your mind and would you be on my mind? So it's like wondering about like whether this current situation that I'm in, this situationship, whatever she describes, is the is the end game in that sense. Is it actually something that I really want to pursue, or is it just like born out of like circumstances and all of that, and would I actually risk it all for this person in that sense, so yeah, so it perfectly leads in also into the next song, which is Bye. And Bye is a super disco influenced and house influenced song. In her Amazon Music breakdown, she does say that it's like it's a tamed version of a fuck you song to your ex. It's not like an aggressive fuck you. She decided to like she said like, the process for the song was very interesting because she had to redraft it several times because the first time she wrote it and like produced it and all this stuff, she was very emotional and very like aggressive in that sense and very like spiteful. And through the various redrafts, as I said, like she didn't want to force anything on the song. So through the various redrafts, she had a bit of a hindsight take on it, and she redrafted it into like wishing you well sort of song, like having to let go of this person is not serving you any like serving you well anymore, just but being graceful about it, like wishing them the best. Um, it's over, farewell, basically. So yeah, she said she wrote it in several takes and redrafted it and all that. And the thing that inspired her the most to like redraft it and like have this like sort of hindsight take on it was because of her mom. And she reflected a lot on how her mom dealt with the divorce that she had with her dad, and of course she had to go through a divorce herself. So it was some sort of like learning experience, like of course the divorce with like between her parents happened up in a long time ago, and it's sort of like she said it influenced her the way she approached love, of course, because she was always scared of like actually like getting separated from someone, or like breakups always like scared the hell out of her because she craved the exact opposite, of course, and she craved stability and she craved something that could last forever. And she didn't want to end up like her mom. That's what she said at first. But then she realized actually that what her mom did was actually something to be proud of and to be like extremely, grateful for in a way, because it's something that not everyone and to admire specifically, because I think divorces and like just in general breakups take a lot of courage to. I think it's so much easier to just stay in a situation that doesn't serve you well and just abide basically, and just like stick your head under the sand in that sense. But having the balls to actually like cause a seismic shift like this, it's quite major. It's quite major. So yeah, basically what she learned from her mom and dad is that it's okay to choose when to separate yourself from someone, and knowing when to walk away is a great strength. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that you should actually be proud of in that sense, because you've been a strong person. You've made a decision that is not easy, but it's ultimately with a greater goal in mind, which is your happiness. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a beautiful song. Honestly, production incredible. The song, like the chorus itself, is like very grandiose and very like it feels like a proper farewell to someone. Is just like a liberating sort of song. It's just beautifully made. Now this is where it gets fucked up on the album. She follows up this song with "Don't Wanna Break Up Again," which is exactly the opposite in terms of theme, and she has a reason for that. She did explain it, which is honestly very interesting to see. She says that this is like some sort of like a flip and switch situation after, of course, the previous one. The song is in fact about not wanting to end things, refusing to break up despite all the signs. She chose this track placement because it does reflect the complex and illogical like thought processes behind breakups in that sense. Like we feel contrasting emotions, we want to feel liberated but at the same time you cannot. You're very scared to walk away and you just want to stay in all of this. You know what I mean? So yes, brilliant, I guess. So it's a very interesting placement, and it's just the sonics of it all is also very interesting because like "Bye" was a very like liberating song, but "Don't Wanna Break Up Again," it's like a very sweet, like the way it's produced and like it sounds, it's just like a very cutesy R&B song that I personally love. Now I have to say this is my favorite song overall on the album. It's just beautiful, but the lyrics are cutting. It's just incredible. Like it's one of my favorite songs ever she's ever made. Like it's just beautiful. Yeah, she says, I don't want to fuck with your head. It's breaking my heart to keep breaking yours again. The situation is about to hand, but I can't refuse. I don't want to break up again. So a chorus, a chorus. The lyrics are lyricking, It's probably my favorite overall in the album, and I don't know, one of my favorites by Ariana. So just saying, beautiful production, R&B, as I said. Just give it a shot. It's like a very, very vibey song. It's just beautiful, gorgeous. Listen to it with the headphones as well, because I think there are so many intricate and unnoticeable elements in the production that you wouldn't be able to get from just listening from your little like speaker from your phone, Now, after this incredible run, we get into an interlude, which is very much strategically placed here. So it's called Saturn Returns. I think it does say in the title like it's an interlude. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So her friend is an astrologist. It's a tape of her astrologist friend, who talks about how when you are born, Saturn is in a certain position, and it takes the planet 29 years to get back to that position. So in 29 years of your life, after that 29, like in that 29th year, Saturn returns to that same position, and this is when it's allegedly some major shift is supposed to happen in your life. It hits you over the head and wakes you up. It's like a wake up call. It's like, okay, fine, it's time now to like get your life together. You know what I mean? So yeah, in her interview, she says like she put the interlude here because she just felt like it was right to like put it right after the first three tracks. In my view, personally, this is my take. It's an incredible way of doing it, because if you like the rest of the tracks after this, like the end, like the rest of the album is just different iterations of the complexity of a breakup, I guess, and of love in general. So in the first three tracks, she gave us the full rundown of what the album is going to be about, and then the rest of the tracks are all different iterations of these contrasting feelings. You know what I mean? So like the interlude in that sense gives you like a sort of like a demarcation of like how like now the album starts properly. You know what I mean? Like this is we're gonna get into like the real, the different iterations of the themes you've heard before, right? So I have to say I liked it. I like the choice. So yeah. Next track. But yes, the interlude goes straight into the other track, like it meshes up with the other song. So you should play the album like one song after the other, because it's just a great journey, I guess. But yeah, next track is Eternal Sunshine, which is the title track. Now, this is the OG Ariana sound, trap beat. This is the trap song I was referring to, very much reminiscent of her Positions and Thank You Next era. It's about being played by a guy. Got yourself basically feeling sorry and saying sorry for things you never did, basically being hurt by this person so much that you want to erase them from your memory, just like the movie, right? So yeah, so it's just a fucked up song, you show your person all your weaker sides, and then yet they still play you and they still hurt you even more. So it's just a very emotional, not emotional, but because it's a trap, like the beat is a trap beat, but it's like very like the lyrics are very real and raw in that sense. She's keeping it real for y'all. This is what happened to her. So, and I think we can all relate to that. Like, I don't think there are these many songs about these specific topics, that how you get screwed over by someone when you're at your lowest point, and how you get manipulated by love sometimes to the point where like you start victimizing yourself when you're not actually the victim. You know what I mean? So, great. So I loved it. I have to say though, like, since it's like something that I've heard before from her in terms of like production, it's not my favorite from the album, but it's just like I appreciate what it is, and it's just a good song, So the next one is Supernatural, and this is like another fave of mine. Like really, really great song. It's another R&B song too. I have to say, like, when she talked about the album in the interviews, she was saying that she placed. Of course, she did say like she was gonna put some R&B songs in it, like some house songs, and yeah, that it was gonna be a bit of like, you know, a mixture of those. But I have to say, like, I'm very surprised, pleasantly surprised. There are so many R&B songs in this, and it's just so good. Like R&B, Ariana is just in her element. You know, it's just so fucking good. Um, yeah. So as I was saying, like Supernatural, incredible song. Gives me a bit of the weekend, the artist, the weekend vibes. Very cool song. The chorus is just so good. Like it's one of this one is about being possessed by love, something like it's something supernatural, right? Love takes over you, and you just let it take over. You know, like you just you don't mind. You know, you don't mind being taken over by love. You know, so the second chorus adds that little bit of it's a bit of an add-on part. Like it's a longer chorus, the second one, and even the third one, I guess. Like when she repeats it, but and it's just incredible. Like this add-on part is just very much needed. The bridge here is nuts. Like it just like elevates the song so much more, and then it goes into like one last run of the chorus, and it's just incredible. So go listen to this. It's just very good. It's like a the weekend type of R&B type of track. So yeah. Next song is True Story. True Story. She said that the writing process for this one started off with Fantasize, the infamous leaked song, and it ended up being a completely different song, completely different theme, completely different production. But the seedling of it came from the beginning, like from that song, basically. So this song is about a true story. This is a true story about all the lies you fantasized about you and I. About you and I. What the fuck? This is a true story about all the lies you fantasize about you and I. This is a true story about all the games I know you play. It's very similar in terms of the content of like of it, the Eternal Sunshine track, but it has more gravitas in terms of production and all that. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels more like heavy in that sense. It's a very cool track as well. Like it has a bit of fatalistic sort of production, I guess. So it's very interesting. I love her like the vocal performance that she has here is just incredible, like super cool. Not my favorite track as well, I would say, but it's just a fun little continuation of it's a good track. I loved it. Now, the next one is The Boy Is Mine. Allegedly one of the cuntiest songs of the album. So fucking good. It's pretty self-explanatory by the title. Competing with other people about this boy, but you already know he's yours. So you just take your time. You know, you're just gonna take your time because you know that guy is gonna be after you anyways. No matter who these like other competitors or these other chicks around you are who are trying to get your man, the man is pretty much interested in you and you know it about it. So you gotta take your time. You gotta play it cool, you know? So the best part of the song is I think the beginning of the chorus. Like every single chorus has this like beginning part where she just slows down the beat, like completely slows it down, like this boy is mine, and then she goes like she goes into like fast, she goes back to the same beat as before. It's just good. It's so good. It's like literally she slows it down for 1 second and then she picks up the beat again. It's just incredible. It just hits. Everyone is mad at the song on TikTok because it's about, of course, her current allegedly about her current boyfriend, I guess. And they were saying he's an ugly man, which is, well, cannot deny that, but it's not my type, let's just say that. But why are you all mad about her dating an ugly man? Like, show me your man and we can have a discussion about it. Most of y'all are married to, you know, never mind. But, anyways, we don't care about that. We're just here for the music. We don't care about that. I just care about the music. And the song is hitting. It's very good. I think this song is maybe the one that TikTok is really like supporting in that sense. Like everyone on TikTok is just talking about that. Holy shit. But yeah, it's a great track. Great track. Incredible track. Just go listen to it. It's one of my favorites. Then we get into Yes and we all know the song already. Vogue sample in here by Madonna. Is just, you know, pop off Vogue beat, and it's about not giving a shit about your haters and about what people say about you. You just like, you know, you just don't care. You're just in love, you know, you're just in love. And did I say period? I'm eating also a candy right now because I'm just crazy. But yeah. So next one is We Can Be Friends, and then in brackets, Wait for You. Yeah. I have to say, this feels very Max Martin. Like, very quintessential Max Martin. Like, it just gives me, like, it gives me, oddly enough, like, 1989 by Taylor Swift, like, for example, style, the way that was produced. It just gives me quintessential Max Martin. It's just really good. Incredible. She chose it as the next single for the album. And I can sort of understand why. It's like one of my other, like, this is one of the proper pop moments on the album, and it's probably one of the most relatable ones ever. I really like the lyrical content here. So it's about not enough relationship, but you just can bring yourself to just be friends with this person, right? So you try and get away from to forget about them, but also you're very hopeful that by just erasing them or being away from them and just putting some distance and putting a wall, maybe they'll like you again and they'll chase you again. And you know you're not good for each other, but you're willing to wait out to be liked again by this person, right? Just a miserable feeling. You don't want to be friends. You don't want to be friends. You just want to make this work. But whenever you guys are together, you always fight. There's always something going on, and so you try to be in this cycle where you cannot break up. You know what I mean? But also you want to step away. So yeah, incredible production. It's like, you know, dancing on my own, is that it? I'm in the corner watching you kiss her. Oh, that's the sounds very much like that. It's very 80s inspired as well. 80s synth, just very beautiful. So gorgeous song. The music video is so cute and sad, very sad, and it's basically sort of like recreating the actual movie, the Eternal Sunshine movie. So like she goes through the procedure and all that stuff, and like she cancels all the memories that she had about the guy and all that stuff. So very cool. That next one is I Wish I Hated You. It's a bleep bloop ballad. That's what I wrote here because there's no piano, there's no guitar. It's just a bleep bloop synth, but it works. Somehow it works. I like it. Very minimalistic, and it also gets into the lore of the movie again. She says that she tries to literally rearrange her memories about this person, but can bring herself to hate him. So, just beautiful songwriting here too, and the harmonies and vocal stacking is gorgeous. This is one of Ariana's fortes, like her raw skills in terms of like singing and like producing her vocals and everything else, they're just coming through. Her skills are incredible. It's just like about wishing that person, like wishing basically this person you're in a relationship with or whatever could be worse to you, so you could just have a reason to hate them and get away from them. You know what I mean? Like maybe you guys have arguments and you guys don't work well together sometimes, but he never gave you like a very bad reason, like to, well, I guess a good reason in that sense to leave him, like a bad situation where you had to leave him. But yeah, relatable. Now this is also where it's interesting. Like it flips. Well, it doesn't flip its ad, but like it gets, I guess, a bit even more into this like very low point of her like thinking. The next track is called Imperfect for You, and it's another slower song. It has a guitar throughout the song, like a very ballady guitar in that sense, very vibey. It's more introspective, this one. It's like less about the other person and more about herself, and it's about realizing that maybe she's the messed up one and that she's not good for the other person. She's like basically blaming herself and owning up to her issues that might be also the cause of a lot of arguments. So yeah, it's just a nice little track. These two are quite slow, but if you guys love ballads, you would love them. I personally like them, both of them. I prefer "Wish I Hated You" in terms of just um, melodies and everything else, but they're just very good. Two very good songs. Very cool. Now, last song is "Ordinary Things," and Ariana in her interview said that she knew this was gonna be the last track on the album. It's like a little bit of a like this was the first track that she put at the end, like that she put into like the album itself. Like she knew that this was gonna be the closer, and from then on she started like building up the album as well. So yeah, Ariana is stating that nothing will ever get boring with her partner. She just wants ordinary things. Like even the ordinary things work for her in that sense, and she's so infatuated with the person that even the ordinary things in her life would never be boring. You know what I mean? So like, she said like we can go to the Louvre, we can do fancy things in Tokyo, we can travel a lot, but all that she wants overall is just more time, because even the ordinary things will never feel ordinary with him, you know? So it's like a nice little bookend to this album, because it's like she starts off her new chapter with this new person, and she's, you know, feeling love again, which is a very, very nice, hopeful way out of the album, because the album has been very, contrasting in that sense, and very, like, a lot of low points and a lot of, like, introspection and all that stuff. And it's a nice, positive bookend to the album. And it also finishes off with her grandma, her nonna, because she's Italian, thank you very much, is Ariana Grande. But she is, yeah, she has a little voice note from her grandma where basically she said, like, same thing, basically. Like, when you know this person, like, when you know that you meet the one, is because, like, you will literally drop anything to be with them and just do, like, nothing, basically, and just, take the simple moments and all that stuff. So, yeah, a nice little, like, closer to the album. But, yeah, so overall, I would say this is, like, a very nice surprise, um, a very nice little, album overall. I would say, like, it's one of my more, satisfactory experiences with Ariana, in the sense that a lot of her albums do have some tracks that are, like, introspective and more emotional, and, like, where she gets a bit more personal. But there's always, all the albums are all, like there are always, like, some tracks that are just very impersonal and very, like, gimmicky and very commercially created, like, in that sense, with that sort of, like, chart topping mindset, which is fine. I mean, she devoured the charts back in the days, and I think she's finally, I mean, you can tell even also from her interviews, and also from the craft itself, that she's now approaching music with a different mindset, which is honestly probably the healthiest one ever, because she got a great project out of this. So I am very satisfied with it. I have to say, like, it in some ways even exceeded my expectations, because I didn't really know what she was going to do with it. I'm glad that it wasn't like a full house album, just because I didn't want it to be like a comparison to, I don't know, Beyonce, or just, like, another throwback to the 80s. I'm glad that these elements are very minimal, like, and even if when they are present, they're very much justified, and with the sounds of the album overall. And there's a lot of R&B that I love. There are so many standout tracks, in my opinion, and to me, the success of an album in general comes off from how many, like, if more than half the songs on the album I like, in that sense, to me it's a great success. Because, like, if I only, like, liked one or two tracks, I would say, like, it's not a good one. But I saved a lot of tracks. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown. Well, I like the intro, of course. It's short, but I would listen to it again. It's a very good one. I loved Don't Wanna Break Up Again. It's my favorite one overall, like, period. Then I loved Supernatural. I loved The Boy's Mine. I loved We Can Be Friends. And I have to say, I also loved I Wish I Hated You. Like, So that's what, 1, 2, 3, Oh well, of course, yes and as well. Yes and is a sleigh. So one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. 8 out of 13. That's a great score. That's a great score. I loved it. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Very much obsessed. I'll keep on listening to the album because I think there are so many other elements that I might have missed. I didn't focus too much on the lyrics. I mean, I tried to, but it's just very early on. Like, it literally came out 2 days ago. Well, actually, no, because I'm recording on Saturday, so it came out yesterday. But yeah, I I'm very much obsessed with it. So yeah, go listen to it. I hope I inspired y'all to listen to this album, give it a shot, listen to some songs. It's just a great, monumental moment also for her because it's her seventh album and just a great comeback to music. So Slay. Stay tuned for the next story. Bye. Hello. I realized that I've completely forgotten my intro to say that I'm also doing, of course, a second story and what it was about. But my second story, let me give you a little bit of an intro then here about this one. My second story of the day is about how to deal with being ignored by someone. Now, that someone may be your friend, maybe your partner, it may be like someone at work or someone that you work out with or something of the sort. And the reason why I decided to talk about this was because one of my friends, very close friends, one of my best friends, she's currently dealing with this firsthand, and we've had multiple chats about this already. And I thought that it was worth, like, it was on my mind a lot, and I wanted to like sort of like give some advice and just in general like share what I think is the best like strategy to like for yourself, for your own like mental health, I guess, to deal with this. Like, what's the best way to deal with this, right? So yeah, like that, it all kickstarted from there, and then I also read some articles, and I was like very intrigued by the topic, by this like silent treatment situation. So yeah, here I am. Also, it's currently pouring, so outside. So if you like hear any sort of like weird sounds in the background, it's just the rain on my window. So yeah, that's that about that. Um, so what is a silent treatment? Like, what's the situation like, right? Silent treatment, of course, is when like someone completely switches up on you and starts giving you like zero communication or like very little, or they stop meeting your expectations in that sense, and they just act completely different for, well, it can be, well, silent treatment can be caused by you, of course. You can like create this like situation where someone decides to reply to you with silence. You can be the cause of it, but also I would say also many times it's nothing to do with you. It's like something that you have no power over, and it's something that comes out of nowhere, and it's just something that you are literally not responsible for. But yeah, and also silent treatment situations, I guess, like the being ignored of it all, can happen in multiple ways, like in various ways, in different extents, I guess. You may be ignored like for a short time. You may be ignored like in intervals and like in consecutive intervals, or like in a pattern, or you can be ignored for a long ass time, or it can be also something definitive, which always entails a bit like more, like, I guess it hurts even more and more, I guess, the worse it gets. But yeah, so it's a very difficult situation, and I would say, I would preface this by saying that this is like especially something that hurts people who are at their core people pleasers in that sense, because if you are ignored by someone you're trying to impress, or like you generally just are ignored by someone that you have built a certain type of relationship with, it's gonna make you like, it's gonna affect you quite a lot, because you're basically translating this into like your own self-worth, and like how it's gonna take your self-worth down, basically, because you are, as a people pleaser, failing to please someone, and you feel like you're failing, and that it's something that has to do with you, and then there's a lot of like self blame involved. But also, I have to say that on one hand you're responsible in a way for like trying to solve this like people pleaser um, approach to relationships. You're definitely responsible for that in a way. Like you should like try, of course, and minimize any of these sort of like drawbacks. I would say that also it's sometimes on the other person also it can be like from the person ignoring you. It can also be like a very mean and inconsiderate form of manipulation, because some people do give you the silent treatment, knowing specifically how you will feel about it. So yes, yes, we're dealing with like something very annoying and very hurtful. So yeah. So before I actually get into like some advice, I guess, on how to deal with these type of people, um, I wanted to talk about why does being ignored hurt. So part of it was already explaining it. If you are like a people pleaser in that sense, it's gonna affect your self worth, of course. But yeah, so you may start to feel unworthy, unimportant, unlovable, especially if you're like ignored by someone that you really care about. That is, yeah. Um, so yeah, it can be. Part of it is also because you're in like it's a form of rejection in a way. It is a form of rejection. Being ignored is some form of rejection in some shape or form, right? So yeah, there are also cases that are definitely linked to an emotionally neglected childhood in that sense. So, um, or you may have had emotional trauma when you were a kid, of course, and so fear of abandonment and all that stuff may come in also into play in this sense. So, um, yeah. But the point that I want to make here is that your worthiness should never be dependent on anyone else's. So it's easy to fall for these type of like predicaments in a way, because you when you engage in like friendships and relationships and all of the sorts, you are also putting part of yourself, and you're investing in this relationship, and also you're putting part of your happiness in the well-being of others as well. And so when they come and like they don't meet your expectations, or they start like pushing you away, then you feel distraught and like a failure. But just always remind yourself that your worthiness is not dependent on other people. Friendships and relationships are something that you build not out of necessity. Maybe sometimes you do, but when you get like to a certain part, like when to a certain level in your life where you're like independent enough, you build friendships and relationships because you want to do them. Like you want to do that. You want to like create this sort of link, but it's not something that you need. You know what I mean? It's not something that you are desperate for. It should never be like that. And if it is like that, you should rework the way you think about your friendships and relationships. It's something that you have a pleasure, of course, in doing. You enjoy spending your time with these people, but at the same time, you should be good. Like you should be good on your own. You should be like fine without them. You know what I mean? Like it's an add-on part to it. It's good to be part, like, of course, of a community, and I don't think there's anything like. Unfortunately, some people are in your life for a short while, or they're in your life for long term, and you'll never know that. So the only way to like move forward is to not be afraid to like, of course, engage in friendships and relationships, and just live like these experiences with the most ease, I guess, and the most carefree mindset, because as I said, you'll never know what happens, and you never want to put your full happiness in the hands of other people that you cannot control in that sense. It's good to share experiences. It's part of the whole experience of a human being, I guess. But don't ever forget your worthiness, that it's in you. You know what I mean? So, and no one should take that away from you. Exactly. No one should. Period. Um, so yeah. So people are like definitely, as I said, like prone to um, like people please in that sense, and to just try to impress other people. they're definitely gonna be way more butthurt by someone being like, very neglectful in that sense, and that's um totally fine. I mean, it's totally fine to feel this way, but we can all, of course, find ways to like work it out and you know like learn from these experiences and just move on in that sense and like try to minimize the impact, right? So, how does like what are the signs that you're being ignored? Of course, because sometimes you may feel you're being ignored, but you're actually not. But there are some clear signs, in my opinion, that you may feel like that you are basically ignored, right? Um, I think sometimes one of the most, to me, the clearest sign are, of course, like, I don't know, like standing you up and stop engaging in communication as often as they used to be. And I would say specifically like avoiding avoiding you, not only like physically, I would say, like maybe not necessarily physically, but um avoiding you in terms of replying to your questions or your requests to hang out. And whenever you propose something, for example, you may not receive a reply at all from this person, but they're always like the ones who pretend like to, well, who are, expecting you to reply to them. And so, yeah, and plus, I think also another thing to keep in mind, I think the more consistent this behavior is, the more you can see like there's a real case of silent treatment in that sense. Sometimes it does happen that people get super busy and they cannot provide you with the emotional and just like in general like their time, and that's totally fine. Like no one is owed anything in that sense. Um, but if it is a recurring pattern, then in my opinion, it is a sort of like neglectful and yeah, some sort of like neglectful behavior towards you. So yes, keep in mind, like for example, when you chat with someone, what are they doing? If you feel like the energy is shifting, ask yourself, of course, how has it shifted? Has it shifted in drastic ways? Is it completely like out of character? What's going on? So these are all good signs that you're being ignored. And also, to be fair, talk to your other friends. They might help you out, like to understand if you're actually overreacting or not. And they may see patterns that you are not seeing, or you know, they will help you give it a new dimension, I guess, to this issue. So yeah. So how do you deal with people ignoring you? This is the crux of the problem. How do you not lose your goddamn mind after someone just leaving you on red or just not replying to you? Um, I would say there's of course a good list that I found on like I compiled while reading different articles, but let me give you some of them. So one of them is giving the person a little space. The second one is, of course, questioning if the person is ignoring you, or to find out what bothers the other person, what is going on there. Another one is to stop literally overreacting and stop overthinking about this whole situation and just take it easy. Another way of facing it could be to actually confront the person about it. Um, in some cases, if you understand that you are the problem and you're causing any issue, it's a good way. A good way of solving this is to just be apologetic and be ready to like make amends in that sense. Um, Another one, which I personally love, is ignoring them back, and this specifically applies to certain specific people, I guess. So if you're being ignored by someone who is, I would say, especially your friend and like your casual friend is not someone that you are like super 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 close, like you consider them a good friend of yours, but they're not like your constant go-to in that sense, and you can see no fault in your own behavior, and you can see that you have never done anything and you've been more than like consistent and nothing has ever changed on your end, and you've been receiving this type of behavior in reply all of a sudden, I think it's more than legitimate to just ignore them back, because why are you spending your energy and your time just trying to win them back or trying to understand what's going on? I think also ignoring them back would give them a taste of the same medicine that, maybe it'll make them realize that they're actually being a mean person to you, So yeah. So part of it involves staying away from, any sort of engagement with them, spend time with those other people, with people that are actually more present in your life or more like giving you more, you know, more satisfactory, you know, encounters and all that stuff. And yeah, other ways to like, of course, work it out is to also work on your self-esteem, as I said, invest your time in something else, in your like in hobbies or other important things that may give you some sort of like distraction. Um, yeah, and so basically also invest this time into yourself. Um, yeah, so of course, if you want to try, let's just say like to resolve the situation, you should of course first find out what what bothers you specifically about the situation, right? Like, are you the reason for like this friendship or relationship like for going south? Have you caused something that may have made them uncomfortable? Um, can you guess by a recent conversation, for example, if you said something wrong, um, or have you accidentally gossiped about them behind their back? And if so, if any of these check a box, then you should, I think, probably apologize. Uh, like open the conversation and apologize, because you never want to be. I mean, if you apologize to someone when you know that you've done something wrong, you do show them that you've reflected on it and you care about the relationship, and you care about bringing things back to how they were. So that's a good way of solving it. Now instead, um, actually a good medium, I would say, if you're unsure about what happened, if you're unsure about your own behaviors as well, I would say to give also some space and time to their person may also be worth it. I mean, overall, I would say like if you don't know what happened, I think giving time and space is a great strategy, because if you can see if like it's just something that has to do with them and you have no cause at all, you're not even a target of the silent treatment. It's just them being in an emotionally difficult time. So yeah, but sometimes, as I said, the best way to do this is to simply ignore them back. Um, yeah, because you should never, as I said, give your time to someone when like they're ignoring you for no reason. And you should never try to like you know make so many moves just like try to win them back when literally they have no decency in being decent to you. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about how to please someone and how to grab their attention constantly. That's the main crux of the problem. Sometimes people, especially people pleasers, as I said, try to even double down, and when they are being ignored, they try to like go even the extra mile and try to like reach out again and like do extra things, that they like go the extra mile. So they would double down on the people pleasing just to receive a reply and to like get some sort of like, I guess, satisfaction from being noticed again, but which will never solve the actual issue at the root of the problem. You know what I mean? Like if you're doubling down on people pleasing, it will give you like a fake, basically, sense of satisfaction when they reply to you, but it will not actually like affect the issue at hand, and will never actually do that. So yeah, be aware of that. Never be you know never be treated like a little puppet. You know what I mean? Don't do that, please. That will be detrimental to your self worth even more, I guess. But yeah. Um, so sometimes the best thing to do is to just do nothing, because what will happen if they ignore you? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen to you if they just ignore you? Nothing. Most of the times, nothing will happen to you. If anything, you'll be freed from someone who is just like not there for the right reasons or giving you the right energy. You know what I mean? So always think about what's the worst case scenario. Like, if they're ignoring you, what about it? You know? Do nothing, you know? Like, are they gonna affect your life forever? Like, is it gonna be something that will like bring you discomfort? It can happen. Definitely, it will give you discomfort at the beginning, but in the long term and in the long, you know, in that like some sort of like future forward, like I don't know, like you know, looking at like the future of your own life in that sense, would that affect your future that much? Would you like, you know, like what's up with that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anything bad will happen to you if you know, if you keep on being done by someone. That's their loss. I would say focus on yourself, of course, and then let them do what they want. Nothing bad will happen if you will not take it seriously. You know what I mean? So if you start taking these things a bit more lightly and making it, especially when you know that you have done nothing wrong, keep on reminding yourself that it's something that has to do with them and not you. You know, stay away from them. Stay away from negativity. You should never invest your time and energy in something like that. And yeah, if you keep on thinking about someone that hurts you, it's just actually like if you think about it logically, it is going to bring you down even more. So if you instead like divert your attention, think nothing of it, you just also do nothing about it. You know, like you do something else, you invest time with your other people, then you will minimize the impact. You know what I mean? So yeah. Um, I would say as a little bit of a last, you know, thought on this situation is just to say that maybe um whenever you are faced with all of these like drawbacks, I think the most important thing is to always keep note of what's going around you, and to pick up the signs before next time you get to the situation, right? So try to build as best as you can stronger friendships, and try to like discern as best as you can some bad apples, I guess, from the good ones. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah. Also, I would say like people with low self confidence react too much when someone is ignoring them. Right? Don't be that type of person. You have always remind yourself that you have so many other people that love you, so many other. You have your family, of course. You have your other friends. You have maybe you're in a relationship already, and you have, you know, so many people already care about you, and one person is not gonna affect the way you are. You know what I mean? Like other people are there for like one reason, which is that you are actually a good person. See, like the point is always that maybe you're not the problem. What about, have you ever thought about that? Like, if maybe you're not the problem, you know? So you look for the positive sides in any situation, I guess, in general, but especially when you're like given a silent treatment. Spend time with like people who are actually like, see it as a freeing experience in that sense. You got rid of someone who's not good for you and who is just like, you know, emotionally unstable and is only hurting you in that sense, and you need to protect your own peace. Um, so yeah, ignore the negatives and retain the positives. That's my sort of conclusion on this. Just try your best to stay firm. that's that's the goal. Just stay firm, girls. But yeah, hope this little chat was helpful. If you guys are ever like in any of these situations, just, you know, first of all, know that it's normal. There are so many instances in your life when you're like you'll meet people who are, you know, very good to you at first, and then they like just switch up, and it's just something that is part of the journey, I guess. And don't make it a bigger issue than it actually is. So people, as I said, like are there for a short while, and some of them are there for, you know, the longer one. So just, you know, be be okay with who you are, be okay with yourself, and value also the people who are actually there for you, and yeah, and just know that everything will be fine. Fuck these people who are ignoring you, you know? Fuck them. They better go to therapy themselves and just get help, because that's not a way to just face, like, any sort of maybe, I don't know, argument or something that made them feel uncomfortable. Like, silent treatment is just not a mature way of approaching any sort of issue. So yeah, slay. Have a great week. I'll see you next week, and just stay positive, man. Stay positive, and I hope this fucking weather gets better soon. But anyways, period. Bye. Bye. Have a lovely week.